Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. Today I just want to show you my Stealth Commando build just to give you an idea of how you should be building yours, or just a possible bit of guidance if you feel like you've been building yours for a little bit now and it's just not coming out how you want it to. Maybe this video can help you out a good bit. Now, I have been using this for quite some time now, and I have to say I actually really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would when I first started with a stealth build. Usually I'm much more of a bloody build kind of guy, but lately I've just been feeling like going stealthy in 76, and I've loved the results so far. It's been really cool. One of the downsides, and it's the downside with every commando build, is you're going to go through a ton of ammo, and I mean a ridiculous amount of ammo. Luckily though, whatever you go through in ammo, you're going to make up for in doing high damage to every target, and you're going to be a very key piece in almost every single team that you end up joining. 5 to kill is a big part of this build, and usually with any kind of commando build, you're going to be eating through with enemies in a matter of seconds. First things first, I want to talk about the gun. So there are two guns that you want to look for whenever you are doing a stealth commando build, or just a commando build in general, and that is the Fixer and the Handmade. Now for this one I have gone with the Fixer because they were just easier to find for me, and I tend to prefer 45 ammo over 5.56. It's just a personal preference though. Now for this build I have gone automatic, and I have the perk cards to reflect that, but the perfect thing with every commando build is you can actually change it to just a straight normal rifleman commando build if you want to, and it works just the same. So if you want to take this exact gun, for example, you could just change out the automatic receiver for just a normal calibrated receiver, or the more powerful one for this one's going to be probably the hardened one, I believe, which at the moment it looks like it does low damage. That's because I have the perk cards that reflect for automatic rifles. So if I were to change this, however, it would flip. So instead of doing 90 for the automatic, we would probably be doing, like this says, 67, and then the hardened receiver would probably be doing 90, and this, and like I said, the other one would be doing 67. And I do prefer the commando build over most other builds, as you get a lot more freedom and kind of customization of what you really want to do. And there are just so many different variations of the commando build that you can just fine-tune it to one specific one. You could watch this video and 3 other videos and take different little pieces from every single one to make the perfect commando build specifically for you. Talking about armor for a second, just to kind of switch it up. So this is going to vary pretty drastically on what you want to do. Me, for example, I don't really have too many of these that I actually care about for armor as long as I have good stats. The only one that I absolutely had to have was a chameleon piece. For anyone that doesn't know, chameleon basically makes it where if you're not standing, so if you go to sneak and you're staying still, you are basically having a stealth boy enabled. And then when you go to move, it disables and you're visible, and then you stop again, and now you're camouflaged. That's what's perfect for an actual stealth commando build. That's why I prefer it. It just gives me more immersion. But for all the other armor pieces, I don't have many that I truly recommend. Unyielding is a very good one just to get an increase in stats. But as you can see on this character, I haven't had much luck in finding a lot of the unyielding pieces, and I'm trying to get the marine armor. So as you can imagine, it's going to be even harder to get the unyielding. So do keep that in mind if there's a specific armor set you want to go for. Obviously, if you are doing this build, you're not going to be rocking power armor more than likely, so your carry weight will suffer usually. So that's where something where having the unyielding armor will really come into play to really give you that boost in stats, to give you higher carry weight, or vice versa. If you want to do it perk wise, you can go into the legendary perks and just increase strength from there to really minimize some of that loss that you're going to take for going heavy in perception, agility, and luck. Which, speaking of that, I want to talk a little bit about the perk cards now. So as I was saying before, you're going to suffer pretty hard in strength, so you really have to make the use of it. Like for instance, right now I have the traveling pharmacy because I carry a lot of meds on me for my character, because I do take a lot of damage. And my other one, I have the bandolier because I carry at least 2,000 rounds of 45 at any given time for my build, because like I said earlier, you just shred through so much ammo in this build that you're going to need it. Even though you're doing a lot of damage, if you're going commando like I am on this one, you're just going to eat through ammo at a very high rate. So if you don't have the caps to really keep up with it, maybe try to switch out the commando for at least the rifleman build if you can. It's going to work almost the exact same, you're just going to lose that fire rate. And then coming over to perception, I do have the master commando, expert commando, and just normal commando, because I do want to do more damage with the automatic rifles, versus if I was just having a lever action or a fixer that was not automatic, I would just switch these out with a rifleman build, which is actually what I was doing before I transferred over to a straight automatic for my build personally. Regardless, whichever one you pick, whether that be commando or rifleman, you're going to want the tank killer perk card. This makes it where all your rifles and pistols ignore 36% armor and have a 9% chance to stagger. For me personally, that comes in very useful when you're being surrounded by a lot of enemies at once, especially given that chance of staggering them. Hopefully you won't have to use it because, like I said, this is a stealth commando build, so you should be shooting from afar, but you're still going to get opportunities, especially during the bigger events where you're constantly in danger and they know where you are, where you're going to get swarmed, and hopefully that will give you a little bit of leeway in that situation. Lastly, for perception, I do have concentrated fire just for vets to make it a little bit easier if I want to lock onto their head or torso instead of just free firing at them. I could also change this out with ground pounder if I wanted to, just to make it where the rifles will reload 10% faster and have better hipfire accuracy. But I already have a mod on my gun that makes it where it reloads faster, and I already have mutations, so this really wouldn't give me too much of a benefit, so I don't really have that one enabled as of right this second. So the first two have been pretty tame for strength and perception. Endurance is going to vary pretty drastically for everyone else. Mine, I promise you, is not going to be like one you will see on a different video. So the first one I have is Aqua Boy. Now this is just because I do a lot of Mirelurk hunting for my character, and I was so sick and tired of going into every single piece of water and getting super irradiated super quickly, so that one was a must-have for me personally. Cola is my second one, and I do have that one maxed out. You don't need either one of these, but for my build, what I wanted to do, I've been using Nuka-Cola as my primary source of water, which is why I also have the Collectron over here that supplies it for me. So anytime that I actually drink these, I do get double the benefit, and it works out way better for my character than just going through with normal purified water. Lastly on endurance is Fireproof. Now this is one you'll see on almost everyone's, as it's become a must-have, especially with the missile launchers that most enemies are spawning with now. So this one, you're going to take 30% less damage from explosions and flame attacks, and I cannot describe how important this one actually is, because you're already not going to want to take a lot of damage, especially in events, and this one is basically going to ensure that you don't take crazy amounts of damage from explosions and flame attacks. Charisma's pretty short and sweet, just maxed out Tenderizer, so that way we can do a little bit more damage with 10% more damage for 10 seconds after each attack. It also works out perfectly because I can also just change this out with Hard Bargain if I wanted to, whenever I was selling or purchasing at a vendor. So most stealth commando builds don't go this high into intelligence, and the only reason that I have is because I have to have Gunsmith on mine because it is automatic and it does wear the condition down pretty drastically, pretty quickly. So having that ability to make my gun break 50% slower and to be able to craft the top tier for guns is pretty big for me personally, but that's just because, like I said, I am using an automatic, so I'm eating through the condition and ammo constantly of this gun, which is why I also have another perk for it, but I'll get to that later as it's in luck. Next for intelligence, we do have the first aid perk. Just that way when I'm using my sim packs, I'm not having to use two just to get the same benefit. And if you wanted to, you could even switch this out to where Gunsmith is 4 and you can max out first aid, which is what I was running for a while, just so that way you know you're getting the most you can out of every single stim pack you're going to use. And trust me, you're going to be using quite a good bit, as this build is not very tanky. You rely pretty drastically on getting that first jump on them and just not letting them get a chance to even shoot at you. Agility, we have a nice good bit of diversity. So first we have Action Boy completely maxed out. That's going to give us 45% faster regeneration on our action points. Next, we have Covert Operative. So this ensures that our range attacks do an additional amount of sneak damage. For this one, I only have it up to 2 stars. But you can completely max this one out all the way up to 50% if you would so like, as that one is a really good card and a must-have for the Stealth Commando build. Next, we have Adrenaline, just so we can do a little bit more damage with our attacks. We're up to 3 stars on this one, which does give us 8% damage for 30 seconds per kill. So if you're trying to chain kills together pretty quickly, this can add up very, very fast, and you will start doing a lot of damage. At the moment, up to 48%. But if you max it out, you can be looking at up to 60% extra for your damage per 30 seconds per kill. Next, we have Escape Artist, just so that way we can run away from any enemies if we know we're overmatched, or if we start to get overpowered by many of them at once. Quick demonstration of it. As you can see, we're obviously under attack and they know we're here. We run away a little bit and we'll go ahead and crouch. Should go from danger to caution just like that. Take care of him and we're good. That's how Escape Artist works, so that way they don't really know where you are. You can still get shot, and then eventually they'll just go back to hidden, and then that's when you can come through with your sneak attack. The next one I have is, well, for me actually it's just Fixer specific. So it's Mr. Sandman. At night, your silenced weapons do an additional 100% sneak attack damage. And this one has been super useful for me as my sneak attacks now do about 3.5 times damage. But this is only at night, which I believe for this one is considered from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So of course during the daytime like it is now, I'm not going to do that much. I'm going to do about 2.3 to 2.5% damage, but this is still really, really good. And then lastly for agility, it's the most obvious one, and we have sneak maxed out, which just means we are 75% hard to detect while we're sneaking. Now for my personal build, my luck is a little low for what most people have theirs for their commando builds. But I found 12 was a bit of a sweet spot for me because there's not a lot of these that I would change out, and some of them I would just change out accordingly to, like for instance, luck of the draw. If my weapon's already fully repaired, I would just switch this one out with a different one, which used to be Lucky Break until I just started to run them together at the same time. So starting with the first one with luck, we have Bloody Mess just so it can do a bit more damage. Now this one is 15% bonus damage, but this also means that enemies may explode whenever you do finally kill them. Next, we have Scrounger because like I was saying, we do go through a ton of ammo, so any single chance we can get, we need to be looting the boxes and the duffel bags just to see if we can get a bit more ammo. I have it maxed out, which gives me an 80% chance to find extra ammo in ammo containers, and just through my use of this perk, I can tell you I'm almost guaranteed to find a very large amount of 45 ammo per any container that I search. This is another one that you can switch out though. If for some reason you have plenty of ammo and you were running low on medical supplies, you can actually swap it with Pharma, as it does the same exact thing, but instead of for ammo, it'll do it for medical supplies. So if you're running low on stem packs, rataways, or even psychos, this one will give you up to an 80% chance as well to find extra first aid chems and chem containers. Next one I'm using is Luck of the Draw, which for this one gives me a chance that my weapon will be repaired anytime that I shoot an enemy, which as you can imagine with the automatic rifle, that means there is a very, very good chance when I go through about 2 mags that my gun's going to repair itself a very good bit, which may not seem like much in the beginning stages of the game, but once you get past that level 45 to 50 threshold, it's going to be absolutely massive as these guns get super expensive to fix, and this will just cut down on you having to repair that gun pretty drastically. For instance, before I had this one enabled, I would usually have to fix my gun every 2 days roughly of playing, and that's with playing for about 2, maybe 3 hours a day. But now this perk activates so often that I don't actually have to fix my gun but maybe once every 2 weeks. So the changes are pretty phenomenal, and as you can imagine, if you had it maxed out, of course, it would be even better. Next, we have Lucky Break, which basically does the same thing as Luck of the Draw, but it's going to be for armor, which in my personal opinion, this one's actually even more important because if you have level 50 or 45 armor, when you try to fix it, it's going to require ballistic fibers. And as most of you may know, ballistic fibers are so difficult to get. There are entire videos of just how to correctly farm them. The only unfortunate part of Lucky Break is I don't believe it fixes every single piece when you get hit. I believe it just affects the one that got hit directly. So a little bit of a bummer, but like I said, it does work very, very well. And just to save that large amount of resources with the ballistic fibers you would need just to fully fix your armor, this is going to save you quite a good bit in resources alone. Lastly, we have Starch Jeans. Now, Starch Jeans is just for mutations only. If you're doing a Stealth Commando build with no mutations, you can completely disregard this last perk and find something else you would like to add on that would be perfect for your character. But for me personally, I am running several different mutations on this one, so I do need to have Starch Jeans because it does make it where I will never lose my mutation from Radaway, and just standing in radiation will never give me a different mutation. For instance, on this character, I'm only running 3 at the moment, which is Bird Bones, Marsupial, and Speed Demon. But these have actually become necessary for what I've been doing on this character. Bird Bones and Marsupial kind of go hand in hand, as Marsupial is the one that makes you jump way higher, and Bird Bones actually makes it where you'll fall much slower. It also gives you a boost in agility, so if I do make the mistake and accidentally jump off of a cliff a little bit too far and didn't really plan it out very well, this does have a very good chance it will actually save me and I won't have any damage or repercussions from it. And last one I'm running is Speed Demon, like I said, which gives me faster reload speed and movement speed. This does come at the cost of 50% increase in thirst and hunger, but my character is flying around so quickly I can easily just recuperate that at any given time, especially if you're doing a little bit of hunting or just by completing the events and just taking the free stuff they give you. A lot of times they'll give you either cooked or uncooked meat, and all you have to do is cook it and you'll be just fine. I can safely say from Speed Demon alone, I haven't even seen that many negative effects, which would make me not want to use this in the future. But yeah guys, that is going to do it for today's video. That is my complete Stealth Commando build. Let me know if you run yours differently, or if there's a perk that you think I missed out on that is very, very crucial for a Stealth Commando. This is not a perfect build, and it is a work in progress, but from what I've found from playing for quite a while, this has worked best for me specifically, and I've kind of catered this more towards my playstyle. So if you do have anything that you prefer to run over certain perks or a certain gun, or maybe there's a crucial armor set that you feel that I'm missing out on that I just don't know about, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. Yeah guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.